Everybody, how you doing? This is the Plowzone. You know, we've been talking about a lot of things on the radio show and also Gone Wild, but we've been talking about PTSD today. So we'll be talking to Leland Holgate Sr., how he got PTSD and what he's doing for veterans around the world.
But I was a pretty rambunctious kid because of it. You know, there was a lot of anger and issues that were imparted onto me. So of course, the prey became the predator, and I would take it out on other kids or, beat up on other kids. So unfortunately, I wasn't the best when it came to dealing with others as a young kid.
How you kept balance with that in your interactions with other kids and your other siblings?
It was actually at times, especially with the outside kids. My brothers and sisters, of course, we were close. Trauma always polarizes people, brings them together.
That you did drugs and alcohol come to play in that too?
Eventually, yeah, especially post-military and during the military, absolutely.
What year did you go in the Air Force?
I joined in 97, so signed up when I was 17 and took off as soon as I could. Got tired of being told what to do, so I joined the military.
So that's a real smart there. You want to really be micromanaged, join the military. Second, not hourly, but secondly. So you were a loadmaster for a C-131. What was your favorite country you visited when you were out and about?
Amman, Jordan, my goodness. And I mean, it may be a silly reason why, but of course you're in the desert, you're in Saudi Arabia going into Iraq and all these other places that are there, and you can't drink when you're over there. So of course, when we went to Jordan, we got to have a little drink, which was nice. So became my favorite spot.
Did you combat while you were in the military?
I did, yeah, in Yugoslavia. So we went as part of the support and logistics to take out Slobodan Milosevic. And the biggest thing, actually, the scariest thing on the way out was we got lit up by a surface-to-air missile site. So, of course, as on our way out, I have to be posted up in that rear hatch, that rear window. I have what's called a pickle in my hand, and the alarms are going nuts. And all of a sudden, we start yanking and banking, and I'm looking for wherever this SAM is coming from and just throwing chaff and flare out of the airplane. Everybody's looking at me like I got the answers, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. This thing hits us, we're all screwed, so nothing I can really do.
A couple other things happened in life that brought you to PTSD, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely started at a young age, being broken and beaten as a young kid. And on the other side of things, too, on the childhood side, I also dealt with being sexually abused and molested by a babysitter. So there was some definite trauma that came from the childhood and followed me in. And then, of course, being in the military and seeing and doing some of the things that we do, it's impossible to get rid of some of that stuff. You can still, to this day, you'll wake up hearing or seeing or smelling certain things. Sure. Especially out of your sleep, it feels like you're actually there. Sometimes it takes a minute for you to remember, like, okay, I'm cool, I'm in my house.
How does that show up for your spouse? How to handle that with each other?
That was tough. And we eventually separated, but we were together for 15 years. So I give her credit for that. She stuck by my crazy ass for 15 years. So kudos to her. But yeah, it was something that definitely created strain, and we always had to work toward, and more so on my side of things, because when you come back with all of that stress and anxiety, it turns into rage. And then of course you start bleeding on those, and then it cuts you. So it was more work that I had to do. So I was actually quite amazed that she stuck around for 15 years.
What resources are out there for training for that?
What's great is actually with our nonprofit, we work with Trauma Recovery Yoga, which I'm also the executive director for. And we have a very special somatic-based therapy that we use, which works great with couples, with children, with families. So that way it works on self-regulation and working and making that biochemical shift inside of the body, lowering stress and raising the happy hormones. And we find it when we put them through these programs, a lot of our vets and their spouses, when they go through it, then they become that support structure for each other. When one of them is out of whack or out of place for that moment, they all understand what has to be done to bring you back into that normal mindset, or at least homeostasis, so you can calm down a bit, come back to the moment, and really work on whatever challenge is in front of you logically instead of emotionally.